Hello, good afternoon to you, and welcome to Hot Factor 92.3 Nigeria Info in Harcourt, Harcourt. I'm Dio. It's 13 minutes gone past 3 p.m. and you're welcome to the show. It's a good day. It's raining right now, so it's possibly wet where you are. I do imagine in some neighborhoods there are the fear and the tension, the nerves is palpable right now. Either your neighborhood is flooded already, or you are in constant fear and reminder that the floods are coming and will be there at any moment. Anyways, it is difficult times that we are in at the moment, and just about every front really. But we must keep our heads up, keep a positive mental attitude, keep believing, keep working hard and smart, keep playing our roles. Keep contributing our quota to nation building and national development. Can't afford to keep leaving it in God's hands or leaving it in Excellency or Honorable's hands. They've proven time and time again that they simply don't know what to do really. And why you keep hoping that that's going to change completely befuddles me. But you're welcome once again to today's edition of the show. From now till 7 we keep the conversation going. A few matters we're going to be discussing today. But I might start by saying that besides the seeming incompetence of the vast majority of leadership in this country, which causes me pain continually, and besides the fact that we've got the rains right now, which I don't like very much, but I know are good, with the attendant floods and all of that, I am incredibly saddened today. Got some very unpleasant news last night. And a dear friend of mine passed away. Monday night struck Tuesday morning. Victor Onyema. Very sad development indeed. I call him, I was fond of referring to him as Ndoni man. He comes from Ndoni. And great joyful fellow. Always had a great time whenever we traveled to Ndoni together. And had, just by the river Niger. And we would have a great time. We would have some really nice fresh fish. There's this particular fish that I think it's, synonymous with the place sort of, and that's okpo, I think. I hope I got that right, or okpo, something like that. Really nice. Well, sadly he's gone, and just as he hit his prime actually, and I hope and pray that the good Lord will grant his family, friends and loved ones, the entire Onyema family of Ndoni, the grace and strength and fortitude to bear this incredible loss indeed. And he left behind a wife and 5 children. Wish him the very best. 5 young children, by the way, very young children. And I wish him the very best. Alright, that said, let's get into the conversation for today. Thank you very much to those who are responding and wishing that Victor rest in peace. Thank you very much for your kind messages. Alright, let's see. Let's get on with the conversation right now. Sorry to have started it on such a sad note, but maybe it also serves as a reminder of how transient life is, and no matter what it is you think you've got right now, no matter how do you think you're working, what you've amassed, or what you're trying to amass, or what you think you don't have, by the way, and you need to get, it could all just be over, just like that. Just like that. It could all be over in a second, in the blink of an eye, and it's all gone. And all the cars you've amassed for yourself, and the houses, the property, the cash, the fame, the power, it's all gone in a second. In a second. Alright, let's get on with it. Today's show, we've got side comments coming up, random stories, random thoughts that caught my attention on the news earlier today, which will not be discussed at this time, a reminder of that. But very likely later on during the open season segment, I'll take your thoughts on my side comment and any other issues discussed on the show today. That comes up after the major news at 6. So I've got a rant coming up as well, as usual. my thoughts on some major issue. I'll take your thoughts on that till 4 p.m. Business news is up at 4. We've got Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable. It's another Wednesday, and we're discussing the development of the Niger Delta region that we are. And a reminder as well, it's brought to you by SPDC. Yes, indeed. Now, today on the show, on Canvas on Air, we're discussing another important matter as always. COVID-19 vaccination, my safety, our safety. And that comes, I'll be speaking Professor Dimier Ogoina will be my guest for that conversation. That takes us till 5. We've got the news update at 5 p.m. And after that, we'll be discussing another matter entirely. Discussion on MD Can's postponed strike. Yeah. I think there was something on the news yesterday regarding that. Just a moment while I check it out. Yeah, here it is. The Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, MDCAN, has again extended the ultimatum given to the federal government to resolve their demands by another 6 weeks. Chairman of MDCAN at UPTH told our correspondent that the consultants do not want to further cripple the health sector as the resident doctors are on strike. Let's hear what the chairman of MDCAN at UPTH had to say about this latest development.
We ask the members of the National ESCO to continue to liaise and deliberate with officers of the Ministry of Health, the head of service, as well as education. We have also tried to see how we can continue to offer service, however skeletal they may be, so that there will not be complete breakdown. We know that all life is sacred, but we shouldn't lose our own lives while caring for others. We support members of the Association of Resident Doctors. And when the time comes, if this is not fully resolved, well, we'll be in the same camp with them.
All right, my guest will be Dr. Chukwemeka Agi, who's chairman of MDCAN at UPTH, who'll join me in the 5 o'clock hours to explore this matter. Is there hope in sight that the issues in Nigeria's health sector will be resolved anytime soon? Join us for that after the news update. Headlines 5:30, major news at 6 p.m. and open seasons up after that till about 7 when the show comes to an end. Well, let's get into some side comments today. You know, random stories, random thoughts that caught my attention. The River State government has advised local government chairmen and respective ministries, departments, agencies to prepare for emergency situations in flood-prone communities across the state. Now, this follows the 2021 Nigerian Meteorological Agency and the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency warnings of adverse weather predictions across the country. Where was this warning a long time ago? Where was this advice long before now? Because the predictions were not given 12 o'clock this afternoon. The predictions were not made last night. The predictions were made months ago. Where was this advice from the River State government? And is it just advice and that's it? Is there a strategy? Is there a plan? Have funds been set aside for this? Do we have resources put aside? What are the strategies? What's the game plan here, guys? Is it just we ever advise them to take notes? Ever advise them? Advise them to do what exactly? You know. Well, you know what they say. Better late than never. But I hope it's not just a statement or a memo advising them to do God knows what. I hope the advice comes with some kind of a blueprint or a strategy. You know, at least at state level. It can then be broken down, decentralized. No, this governance thing is not that difficult, really. I mean, it's not nuclear physics. And even if it were nuclear physics, there are people who know nuclear physics, for God's sakes. You know, I mean, you're not reinventing the wheel. You know. The International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, in Rivers State is worried about the increasing cases of incest in the state. Acting chairman of FIDA in the state, Nedna Igbokwe, told our correspondent that the organization discovered this during the sensitization program about the VAP law. Let's hear what Inledna Igbokwe had to say to our correspondent, and this quite disturbing piece of information, really, at the moment. There we go.
Because we just noticed that insect is now on the rise, and a lot of children are being molested in their homes without being able to speak up. We say it's underreported. Even the wives in the house, they also try to cover it because for them it's something that nobody should hear about. But the young children are dying, they're complaining, they don't even have anybody to talk to. If they cannot talk to their mom, who would they talk to? The last 2 months we've rescued more than 5 children from insects, ranging from fathers, stepfathers, brothers. Yes, we have rescued more than 5 children.
Terrible situation indeed. You know, that's horrendous. Nobody should do that. I hope the Lord catches up with them. What happened to our traditional institutions? What would happen to them? You know, what happened to our elders groups and leaders groups in the community? Those hungry ones. Is it just hunger? That's why they are leaders and elders? Only they're waiting for when project is coming, and how they will say that before you give us transformer, you must pay us first. Is that it? Is it just to fill their bellies with goat meat? That's why they are leaders in communities, and our elders, our traditional rulers also. What's going on? Incest in our communities. Why are we there? To ask them to pay for judgment, you know, and bring goats. One goat. That's why we're elders and leaders wearing Usman Danfodio caps all over the place, nodding our heads, accomplishing nothing, just waiting for the next goat to surface. And even when these matters are reported, even at the traditional institution level, the concern is not that sacrilege has been committed or an evil thing has been done, and how can we redress it? Even when those things surface, what pops up in our heads? Goodness gracious, we're just seeing goods, and a crying mother is there, and she's crying that her daughter has been molested either by her father or some relative or some useless uncle who is a neighbor nearby, and traditional ruler is seen in front of him. The crime is just seeing the image of a goat. Goats. Thinking, this one will have big head. These eyes I'm seeing now. This one will be good for issue. And our police, when they bring the matters before you, this is a family affair. You arrest the man and then collect money, bail. It's a family affair. Oh well, so, but let's kudos to FIDA. They're doing something, you know. They're not leaving it in God's hands. No, they're not doing that. As a lot of us are prone to doing most things, they're doing something about it. They're creating some enlightenment. They're taking some action, you know, and that's all we all need to do, really. You know, do something, you know, like FIDA is doing. Just do something. Let's see. Was there anything else that caught my attention on the news today? Let's see. Before moving on, I think I might just wrap up today's segment on that note. I think so. Not sure there's much else. Well, INEC says fresh registration hit over 3 million voters. We'll probably talk about that. You know, as the first quarter of INEC's continuous voter registration came to an end on Tuesday. Well, I'm glad to hear that it's just the first quarter, and it's been suspended temporarily. It's going to continue afterwards, of course. I'm sure we need to go into that conversation in the coming days. Go out, get registered, vote the right people into office, for goodness sakes. How is that a difficult thing to do? How can your life depend on something so much and you trivialize it? Your life literally depends on this one decision. and arguably, if not the most, but one of the most important choices you will ever make in your life, and you trivialize it for 2,000 naira, for apa, for oil, for t-shirt and face cap, for structure. The man get structure is on grand. It's on grand. Be deceived by the same. They're not even innovative about it. They don't do anything different. 2023 will come. They will carry naked babies in your communities. They will fry akara. They will buy bole. They will stop with convoy to buy bole along the road and fish. They will buy ugu. Their wives will go to the market to buy ugu. Sometimes they will escort the wife to buy ugu in the markets, and then they will empowerment. Watch out! Empowerment programs will start very soon. Empowerment and all kinds of bizarre shenanigans. The same thing. No ingenuity, no creativity, absolutely nothing until you have structure. Yeah, grand. And then at the campaign grads, every doggy there, is he there? He does see there. That's it. That's the campaign. Nothing intelligible. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not talking about policies. Not talking about strategies. Not talking about game plans. Not talking about implementation. Nothing. No blueprint. Is he there? There's the Yamadi. There's the Yamadi. Say me see the Yamadi. See there. There's the Yamadi. And there will be some artist there or DJ mixing hits, and you are dancing away your life, literally. Dancing away your life. Dancing away the lives of your children unborn. Where you see there, you don't see there. That's it. And then for the next 4 years, you'll be looking for 50 naira to recharge your phone line so you can call Nigerian phone to complain. So help us and tell them. Help us and tell them. Alright, that's it for today's segment. I'm going to break right now. When I return, today's round comes up. Do please stay with us.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeria Info.
Listen to me. I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it. You're trying to insinuate all these people looting Nigeria's money?
This is Nigeria Info in the heart of Nigeria. 92.3. We are Nigeria Info.
A clean surrounding is a collective effort.
Diseases could be avoided
with good hygiene practice. Be more responsible with how you dispose waste products. The environment will be better looking without litter and exposed garbage. We love our city clean. This message is from 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Our freedom depends on our proactive responsibilities.
Let's talk, act, and be about development.
With one voice, our potential is realized. This is your number one news, talk, and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am listening.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts with Dion.
Okay, back. It's Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info and Harcourt, Harcourt. I'm Dio. 27 minutes to go before 4 o'clock. Now, if you were listening to my side comment just a while ago, just a few thoughts, a few comments here, talking about, our gladiators, our political gladiators. And I was talking about how the strategies, and someone says that they will also drop from their cars and greet elders on our streets and make them feel important. Yes, they'll be greeting elders then and bowing to them. And after they win elections, well, you know what they will say to them. They will become their boys who run around. Someone says they become Kekena Pep drivers. Oh yeah, they do that also, and they do that as well. But prior to elections, they'll be paying visits to our elders, anyways, welcome once again. I'd like to run for just a bit. I've got something in my mind, expressing some thoughts in it, and you're very welcome to express your thoughts in mind till 4 p.m. It's very unfortunate that, in my estimation, many times, if not most times, if not even all the time, we have to remind governments in Nigeria what their responsibility is. That it is their responsibility to govern, and sometimes we have to go even beyond that. We have to also explain to them sometimes what it means to govern. Because as I've said severally, I get the impression more often than not that political leaders in Nigeria, or public office holders in Nigeria, especially honorables and excellencies, are convinced that the reason they are in office is to wear nice clothes, shout orders at people, have convoy, long convoy with very nice SUVs, and sit in bulletproof SUV with DSS and Mopo and soldier and award contract, and of course amass a lot of the money for themselves personally. But nothing could be farther from the truth. There's actually a job to be done. There's a lot to be done. Governance is not a walk in the park. Well, I hate to do it, but once again, it appears that one may have to help, and it's not being antagonistic of government. No, it's citizens actually have a responsibility, because governance is not one person's job. Now, isn't it remarkable that when it comes to security, you hear things like, is it security is everyone's job? It's not one person, it's not the police only. Everybody has a role to play. Everybody has a role to play in security. You have to play your role. You have to play your role by giving information, because security people need information to solve crime. Well, as he works with security, Mr. Honorable Excellency, the same thing with governance as well. Yeah, you were elected into office to do a job, but it's not your job only to do. The people have responsibilities as well. They need to point out certain things, remind you of certain things, nudge you in the right direction, and bring important things to your notice as well. Because even though you're elected to office, you've not become Alpha and Omega. You're not the beginning and the end. You're not omnipotent, you're not omnipresent, you're definitely not omniscient either. So you must listen to the people. You must take note of what they're saying and act on their concerns. That's why you're elected into office. Now, to some development in Rivers State. The River State Commissioner for Works, Adedayo Elusakin, has attributed the flash flood in some parts of Port Harcourt metropolis to the indiscriminate dumping of refuse in drainages and flood canals. Mr. Adedayo Elusakin told our correspondent that some residents are also reclaiming lands with canals and building on them. He said even though government is spending a lot to evacuate waste in drainages, residents are not being responsible about where they dispose their waste. Let's hear what the Honorable Commissioner had to say.
The government spends so much money trying to take out waste from the drains, and everyday people put them back in. And what do we expect? It's just a natural consequence of our conduct. If we do not reorient ourselves, we'll keep having the same problem. We have a lot of buildings that are actually built across the flood channels. People are reclaiming properties, narrowing some channels. There's a property somewhere in Old Jersey that had to be demolished. They were filling the creek, and with population is growing, rains are more, global warming and all that. But things that were wide before, they narrowed them down, and we expect things to be different. I mean, it's not possible.
Classic. That's a class act. That's classic with leadership in Nigeria. Never take responsibility, blame somebody else for it. Blame somebody else for it. Government is never responsible when things go wrong. I mean, somebody else has to be. And in this case, who better is to blame than the people? Let's hear the Honorable Commissioner again.
The government spends so much money trying to take out waste from the drains.
And what has been the effect of this so much money that government has been spending, taking out refuse from the drains or managing waste? What has been the impact? Even before the rains, what has been the impact of the so much money the River State government has been spending on managing waste? Are streets and corners not littered with wastes every day, even before the rains? Has Port Harcourt, the Garden City, not become Port Harcourt, the smelly, horrendous-looking city, even before the rains came?
And everyday people.
How has Riwama performed over the last few years as far as this management of waste is concerned, in spite of all the money that we are spending and earmarking and disbursing and releasing in River State to tackle the menace? Well, it has become a menace of waste management or lack of it in River State. What's been the result of that?
Put them back in, and what do we expect? It's just
where are they supposed to put them? You can't keep them in their homes, obviously. Refuse has to go someplace.
A natural consequence of our conduct. If we do not reorient ourselves, we'll keep having the same problem. We have a lot of buildings that are actually built.
If there is a problem of the management of waste in River State, the fault is not the people. It cannot be the people. It's because government does not understand and has not put strategies in place to properly manage the issue of waste in River State. It's as simple as that. Now, Mr. Adedayo Elusakin said the ongoing construction in some parts of Port Harcourt is not responsible for the flood. Here's what he had to say.
The flooding you may have experienced is a bit more widespread than the areas that are doing construction. They are doing construction in some areas, not everywhere. But you find flooding in so many areas where there's no construction even ongoing. The areas I talked about were clean. There's no construction going on there, but the drains are completely blocked. Psychiatric Road is flooded. Julius Berger is not working there. Adedayo Road has a flood. Julius Berger is not working there. Robertson Road is flooded. Julius Berger is not working there. I mean, there are several areas where there is no activity and we still have the same flood problems.
Mr. Commissioner, there doesn't have to be activity going on there now. Some of the areas you mentioned, Mr. Commissioner, there was some activity prior to now. There was some activity before the rains came, so there's no way we could have known while the activity was on if there were going to be floods until the rains now came. Meanwhile, the activity would have ended or has ended, possibly even long before now, but the rains are here, now we're feeling the impact. And I think it's kind of hasty to simply say that the construction or the activity of construction has got completely nothing to do with it. What investigations have we carried out? What efforts have we made to determine the cause of these floods? How did we arrive at this conclusion that the construction work has got completely nothing to do with it, and it's all about how Rivers people and as a matter of vision, I don't think they're trying to distract His Excellency or malign his good government or destroy his legacy. People have attested, they have confirmed that they began to experience cases of flooding in their areas, in their neighborhoods, just after these projects or these construction, aka activities, were carried out. Do those people not know what they are saying? For example, the ground floor of the Port Harcourt Mall beside Government House was flooded. The manager of the mall, Chilma Okoye, told our correspondent that the flooding worsened after Julius Berger walked on the road in front of the mall. She called on the company to return and do a proper job on the drainages. Let's hear what this manager had to say about this situation. Just a moment. All right, here we are.
It's a terrible situation for us, and this is the problem we have been writing to the Ministry of Environment about, complaining, series of meetings that have been held regarding the government drainage. They are not flowing. So now there's even our pumping machine here installed in the mall. We have been pumping, and the water there's no way for the water to go. And I don't know what kind of work Julius Berger did here. Since after Julius Berger work, it has become even worse. The gutters are not proper. There's huge damage here at the mall. It's terrible.
Yeah, maybe Port Harcourt Mall did not dispose their refuse properly. That's probably the reason. If we think about it properly, Port Harcourt Mall was probably dumping their refuse in the drainage. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's why Port Harcourt Mall got flooded. Port Harcourt Mall has been dumping their refuse in the drainage, if we're to go by the Honourable Commissioner's logic. But the thing is, even if that were the case, even if the problem were the floods, even if the problem, were the drainages and the refuse, whose responsibility is it to ensure that we have proper waste management? Whose responsibility is it? Mr. Commissioner, might I remind the River State government that it is the responsibility of government to ensure proper waste management structures and systems put in place. Do we have one in River State? The answer is an emphatic no. In spite of all the money that has been earmarked, that has been released, that has been disbursed and expended and budgeted. Well, maybe I shouldn't use the word budget, really, in the same sentence with the River State government. But that has been earmarked and spent on waste management in River State. The other day, Rwama was talking about banning disposing refuse on the medians. In what society would anyone have even recommended? In what sane society would anyone have first recommended dropping refuse on the median, let alone banning it? And by the way, has that ban been enforced? Don't we still have refuse points along the median, on the East-West Road, on NTA Road, on Ada George, other places? Will the rains not wash this refuse into the drainages? So, finally, a word to the River State government. There are two things here. Refuse management. Just in case you forgot, it's actually your responsibility to ensure that is done properly. You need a strategy, a proper strategy, a proper game plan, a proper system to deal with that. And then the issue of the floods as well, vis-a-vis construction. From reports that people have given, people who knew what happened in their communities or their neighborhoods before the construction, and then who know what they're experiencing after the construction work is done. It's a strong testament to the theory that a lot of these construction works have contributed to the blockage of drainages and the floods that we're experiencing right now, and government has to do something about that, and not just blame the people, always blaming the people for everything that goes wrong, or blaming somebody else. The need to protect our interest, or protect some construction company, one construction company in particular, cannot be bigger than the overall interest of society. Society, in this case, River State. On that note, I end my round. Thanks for listening. I hope you were not bored. Let's get your take. The numbers are the same. Lines are up on 0817-923-0002 or 0003 or 0007. We're live on facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH. WhatsApp is on 0809-030-6416. Please keep it brief, straight to the point, and want to call his answer, do turn down the volume of your radio set. Alex from Rumumasi, you're welcome. Please go on.
Yeah, Bayo, thank you very much. Jesus House. If you go to Abba Road, before the construction of flyover of Artillery, we only experienced flooding right there at Mr. B's, opposite the shelf. But when this rain fell these few days, from Jesus House to the other junction there, were flooded. In fact, people were even parking their motor. People could even access that road. So what Julius Berger used to do, after constructing their fine drainage, they don't link it from the existing gutter. They don't follow the old structure of the existing gutter. So if River State government said that it's not because of the drain, what happened to Jesus House? We don't use Torumokwe Junction. We don't used to have flood there.
Maybe you guys started dumping your refuse in the drainage. That's maybe.
Nobody live around there. You have Jesus House there. You have the school, the seminary there. Then you have everyday supermarket there. Then Shell have their big canal gutter by the left. So how then do we start experiencing flooding right there? So then maybe Shell is not dumping refuse across the other side.
Or Jesus House.
Okay, or Jesus House is not doing it. Or everyday supermarket is not dumping fuel this in there. So they should, before just start their construction, they should be mindful of the existing gutter so that they have to work it according to the existing gutter so that when the water is flowing, it will flow along. Alex. They will just go to their shallow gutter and they will now come and dance. Everybody bring all the cultural people, they dance and they go. At the end, the gutter will not flow into the old existing one.
Alex, great to hear from you, sir. Andy from Lumuduma, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dayo, good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dayo, I think I've called before to ask a question. If the Julius Berger that is in Rivers State is still that same Julius Berger in Lagos, because some of us that are exposed to some of these places, we go and we see how Julius Berger takes time. But I want to say, if they are the people, I think this is a situation whereby when a particular man that has a hotel as a director, and when he employs people as female, he makes sure he sleeps with every of them. And when he does that, the hostesses that are employed will definitely not expect employee. Yes, the employee will definitely not respect the employer. I think, allegedly, I feel that the Rivers State government has compromised themselves with Julius Berger. Because I think if the Julius Berger I know in Lagos are the people doing that job in Rivers State, I think they are good in doing good jobs. But it has turned down to be that people are complaining. And I want you to watch out with this. If Rivers State Mall is being owned by Rivers government or is being controlled by Rivers State government, that manager will definitely be sacked. Because the process which has happened as she came out and talked, and there is a refutal, definitely they will want in a way to sanction her. Look at what happened.
Andy, great to hear from you, but I must move on actually. Tony from OGRE, welcome, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. I laugh at the commissioner's statement to inclusively blame it on the wastage being done by drainages by citizenry and the building on waterways. I think it's not entirely true, not entirely factual, and not empirical. To the best of my knowledge, it's a cheap political statement that insults my intelligence and the intelligence of the very reasonable and sensible river citizenry. Yes, people dump refuse in drainages. Yes, we build. What are you in government to do? Is it to come to the media, come to the press, and tell us our challenges, or to give us solutions, just as you said in your analysis? I want to be governor, I want to be president, make me commissioner, make me chairman, make me this. They don't have a clue because they don't invest. These things are scientifically done. Venice is on water. Belgium is one of the best countries in terms of dredging. It's there in the Google. Go anywhere. They travel around the world. They see it. Rivers State has a peculiar
the Netherlands is almost submerged in water, in a manner of speaking.
This River State, we have a peculiar situation. Yes, sometimes the governors give excuse to the presidency. You know, River State, our environment. It is not a curse. You can turn it around to be a blessing. Okay? The River State government has not invested to say how. This is our challenge. How do we solve it? No government has ever done that adequately. You can do that and partner with Belgium and bring them here, and they will be here for decades, and they will solve this problem with us. Work out a way of paying them. It might not be cash. Even if I pass through Eastern Bypass, near Julius Berger, if you have a time, please just go around there, near the bridge. Near Julius Berger, even the community there, Julius Berger has not even helped them to embank. Yesterday, they were flooded. Just by the Julius Berger company could not help them. Okay? As the what they call it, the government do environmental impact assessment in all these roads they are doing that is saying that is not better. So that you asked. They have not done it adequately. It's one thing you observe. I noticed the roads they are doing, they have small pockets of water outlets. In those very same outlets, water and debris that nobody is pushing them in are going naturally into the gutter, filling them up, even before they commission the places. Who is defeated? Over time, do they do routine cleanup of our drainages? They don't. So they are even indicting themselves. In Minister of Environment, you have failed. You're not working. All the monies you send to the Minister of to the House of Assembly for budget, you just spent it. You didn't serve the people of River State. Minister of Health, you failed. Environment, you failed. You didn't do your work.
Tony, great to have from you as well. I do have to move on, however. Via WhatsApp, let's see. Good or doubt, absolutely ridiculous. Listen to the commissioner very well, trying to exempt his government from this whole flood issue in the state by saying that floods have been experiencing, Julius Berger is not working in those areas. When on earth would our leaders be responsible for what they ought to be responsible for? This is unbelievable. Now, please help me ask Mr. Commissioner, if it's Rivers people that caused the flood at the Port Harcourt Mall, I wonder if this the original Julius Berger I used to know. My people are useless, my people are useless, my people are undisciplined. Oh, my people are useless, my people are senseless, my people are undisciplined. Maybe we should go over to London to learn how the white man carries dustbin. What's my fella, by the way? Good afternoon. The Rivers case is more pathetic because it does appear we are running a fraudulent government. Unfortunately, Rivers people don't even know how much is being budgeted for emergency management in the state. So where do we start from? AJ Pascal set that in. All right, good day. That's how a construction company called CGC constructed the Oregwe Road and channeled the drainage that leads nowhere into Tony Estate. And today the residents are selling off their properties at a giveaway price, and the government turns a blind eye to this wahala. Via Facebook, Jonah Amakri goes, these folks haven't told us the relationship between River State government and Julius Berger, hence this statement by the state government. Julius Berger is now untouchable. Once you talk a protest, he will be declared wanted by the government of the state. Udeme John Esiot goes, the poor waste management has always been a problem in River State, but we've not had it this bad when it comes to flooding in the state. I think there was no proper plan for a drainage system or network for the entire metropolis. Endurance Indiana Bongos, I agree with the commissioner. The government has spent so much money to manage waste, but the problem is not the people dumping the refuse. The problem is trucks that the government is using to pack the refuse, causing flooding. How many professionals do they have in Rwanda? How many environmental health officers do we have in that agency? That's some Rollins. Right now in front of MTN along About Road, Julius Berger walked on that portion of the road, and there is a canal there, and there is no flow of water into the canal. There's heavy flood there. The man in charge of Port Harcourt Mall has the audacity to mention Julius Berger as being responsible for the flood in front of the mall. Anyway, let him wait for His Excellency's response. Udom from Port Harcourt said that. This is very simple. An effective waste management system isn't attractive enough to be assigned to the project status by the River State government. Maybe when the problem gets bad enough and requires multiple billions, then it can be a project and will get the needed attention. Mike from Ada George said that. But Mike, come on, this is a big enough a project. This is classic project, really. This is how bigger should the problem be, Mike? I mean, should the entire state be submerged? Should government house be submerged before we know that we need to give it project status? You know. And if Port Harcourt Mall was that way yesterday, I wonder what government house was like, really. But then again, you never know. There could be some contingency plan put in place in government house to ensure that it doesn't get flooded. It's a terrible situation indeed. And I hope government will take responsibility. You can't blame the people all the time. The people give you a job to do, for crying out loud. Do the job. Do the job. The reason you were there is because there are going to be problems. You were elected or appointed to solve the problems, not to keep blaming the people or previous administration or federal government or marginalization or opposition. Just do the job. And if people say that we experienced this before this construction, and after this construction work we are now experiencing this, investigate it. Find out if something went wrong. And not just give a blanket statement and say, no, it can't be construction, it's the people. It's the people. It's 4 p.m. A break for the business news. Canvas and Adedayo Elusakin becomes up afterwards. Please stay with us.